Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the NBA Front Office Show. We got a lot of news to get into on today's show. Ja Morant, where he could potentially wind up. Stars back in action. An unfortunate injury to Walker Kessler. Lots of things that we need to break down around the NBA. I'm Trevor Lane. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the channel. Don't forget to turn on those notifications as well. Joining me, as always, is Keith Smith, though I am trying to continue talking to stall so Keith can finish adjusting whatever you were adjusting on your side of the screen there.
Well, I should have been better prepared, but of course I wasn't. But so I bought some packs of basketball cards because I just wanted to. And look what I came up with.
No.
Three Oso cards.
You got Oso cards like just randomly in the packs that you bought?
Three of them. So if anybody wants an Oso Iguodala card, hit me up and I'll
wow. Of all the people to pull Oso cards, I thought when you pulled those up, I was like, oh, you went out and bought Oso cards. I assumed that you must have. Amazing.
Yeah.
The number one Oso Iguodala fan in the world lands those cards.
Perfect. I did get a Cooper Flag rookie and a Dylan Harper rookie, so feeling good about those, I guess. We'll see. We got a little Cooper Flag, fun for us, not so fun for him topic later in the show.
But all right. Yeah. Well, let's dive into it here. Let's start here. The Wolves and the Kings are monitoring the Ja Morant situation. We've talked a little bit about the Ja situation, what's going on in Memphis. And yeah, there was some reporting. Sam Amick, I believe it was yesterday, was explaining that the Memphis doesn't want to move on. And Jake Fisher had some stuff on this today as well. That Memphis doesn't want to move on from Ja Morant. They're not ready to rip that Band-Aid off right now. And part of it is they want to continue to put butts in seats because their arena deal and all of that. And Ja Morant does have a strong connection in Memphis with the fans. But should this situation continue to deteriorate, as Sam Amick noted, like this is usually how this all starts, that where we go down the path towards a breakup between a star player and a team. It starts the way that it has, with the player making comments. They try to walk things back, and they get suspended, and it kind of we wind up in a place ultimately where they part ways. So the Wolves, as one of the teams, let's start there before we get to Sacramento. What do you think about the Wolves as a potential landing spot for Ja Morant?
Yeah, I mean, they don't have their long-term point guard locked in. They want it to be Rob Dillingham. He has not seized that yet. I'm going to caution everybody, don't give up on Rob Dillingham. He's in just starting year 2. Point guards take a while sometimes. Sometimes it's a few years before point guards really figure it out. But Mike Conley he's been playing a little bit better as of late, but he is clearly getting close to the end here. Dante DiVincenzo is not really a point guard. Anthony Edwards can run a lot of the offense, but he's more of a 2 guard. So yeah, I get why maybe they would be interested. The challenge is twofold, right? One is just strictly basketball. I don't know that Ja Morant is the best fit on a team where Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards are going to have the ball in their hands a lot, just because he's not a good off-ball player. So that's the challenge. And then the bigger one, and I'm glad you went right to the cap sheet, I don't even know how they would make it work. This is a team that is well above the first apron. They're close to the second apron. How would they even begin to pull this off? Like that's, unless we started getting silly, like, well, Anthony Edwards could go, but I'm just not sure. I mean, you're talking
Randall and DiVincenzo for Morant works.
Yeah, then that's what it would probably have to be, is something like that. But then does that work for the Grizzlies? I don't know. I'm not so sure.
I don't know if I would even do that from the Wolves. I think I'd rather have Randall and DiVincenzo, honestly.
I would too.
And then, or do we get into, and then, I mean, when we get into Rudy Gobert, I don't, they already have Zach Edey there. Yeah. Not that Zach Edey would prevent you if you really feel like Rudy Gobert is the path forward, but I haven't been that impressed with him this season. I've been more concerned about Gobert than anything else. So I think it's very tough to get there for a Wolves trade. I understand why they would want a point guard, why they'd be looking at guys out there. I don't think Ja Morant is that guy, but I'm sure if it's the Wolves and you're saying, hey, if we can get him somehow, some way, it's a 3-team trade or a 4-team, whatever, and we can get him pretty cheap, okay, maybe it'll be an option, but a direct 2-team trade, it's tough to see a way that Ja gets to Minnesota in a way that makes sense for both sides.
And just cap mechanics wise, it would probably be more likely to be a multi-team trade anyway, just because I think moving some guys around to another team would maybe make a little bit more sense. If I'm Memphis, I would actually, I mean, maybe you take Mike Conley back just for the kind of symmetry of come back around and finish out your career here in Memphis. But I would ask for Dillingham just because why not, right? Like if you're getting Ja Morant, what do you need Rob Dillingham for? You're probably want a more ready to play, reliable backup behind Morant than Dillingham. So let us go get Rob Dillingham, and maybe he can be our point guard forward. Because if you're trading Ja Morant, you're probably, I get they spun the Desmond Bane trade as this is not a rebuild. We're resetting the roster with more flexibility. If you trade Morant too, you're probably more rebuilding. But I think what you mentioned, that everyone who's talked about this has said the Grizzlies don't want to trade Ja Morant. So that is really, really important to keep in full in mind, that I think things are going to have to get a lot worse before they actually move in that direction.
And they certainly can get worse, but hopefully they won't. All right, let's do this. Keith, the Sacramento Kings are also interested in Ja Morant. we just discovered right before the show that we have sound effects.
Yeah, we do.
So
if this show gets even dumber than it has been previously, you know why? Because we discovered some new tools in our recording software that we can use. Yeah, I hope they work on the Friday live show. So if we get like a really bad question or a really great question, let's be positive, like we can cheer it. So yeah,
I love it.
We'll have some fun.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about it. So the Kings monitoring the Ja Morant situation. I get it. Since the departure of De'Aaron Fox, they need another guy to build around. They already have, of course, Russell Westbrook was great for them last night, but they already have Russell Westbrook and Dennis Schroeder there. But like if you could put together a couple of picks, Dennis Schroeder, and obviously he's not trade eligible yet, but Dennis Schroeder, a couple of picks, and like the contract of DeMar DeRozan, would that especially if it's like the Kings pick this year, do you think that would be enough to get Memphis to bite?
If I was Memphis, yeah, sure. I'd probably take that actually, just because Schroeder at least gives you a passable get by point guard for now. Eventually, we hope Scottie Pippen Jr. will be back in the fold, and then there's your point guard minutes. And then DeRozan still, I mean, he's not what he was, and he's a weird fit on this Kings team, but I actually think he could kind of help out Memphis with some of the scoring challenges that they have at times. And again, you're kind of getting out of a contract with not much owed, right? DeRozan's like 10 million guaranteed next year, and then Schroeder at 14.8. That's perfectly fine, even if you have an upgrade on him. And yeah, the real get there would be you're betting against the Kings, which has historically tended to work out fairly well. So, maybe that's the direction you go is, hey, let's take some picks from a franchise that hasn't really gotten it right very often. And again, it'd be another weird fit. Like
exactly.
Let's take Westbrook out, because that's not Westbrook as much as he's a huge. The dog is really demanding attention right now. As much as Westbrook is he's really playing well for the Kings. That is not that's not a long-term thing. So if Westbrook's there, I'm not gonna make it. Well, Westbrook has the ball all the time, so can Ja play with him? I'm not even gonna worry about that part of it. But Sabonis, and if you're keeping Zach LaVine, again, he's just not a great fit in a place where he's not necessarily what they need, because they have other on-ball guys.
So, and I agree with you. I don't think he's the right fit. If you're Memphis, if I'm Memphis and I'm talking to Sacramento, I would like to get at least one of Nick Clifford or Keon Ellis in the deal if I could.
Sure.
Ideally both. I would ask for both and then hope that I could come away with one. If I'm Sacramento, this feels like just doing more of the same, like getting another guy who's at his best with the ball in his hands, go like a Zach LaVine, Ja Morant backcourt. with Sabonis at the center, like I just don't know where. Now, Ja puts butts in seats. Could he be exciting for some games and
Yeah.
all of that? Yes, but
And I
ultimately,
don't
where
think
are
the
we going
Kings
here?
really have that problem, right? They've got,
Yeah,
I mean, if their fans are still hanging in there
they're
now,
they're lighting the
they're not
beam,
going
right?
anywhere, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of why the story was told, right? Is like, there's not a clean and easy fit here. Like, when this was Jimmy Butler a year ago, it was like, oh, yeah, here's our 3 or 4 teams that kind of make sense for Jimmy Butler. And we knew we had the Suns and the Warriors like very heavily pursuing him. Memphis, oddly enough, was also pursuing him. And we were told Butler kind of killed that idea of like, I don't really want to go there. So, which boy, that would have been interesting now, a year
Yeah, for
later,
sure.
thinking about that. But, and then one other piece on this one before we move on to our next topic. It was mentioned Houston is not expected to be interested. Okay. I mean, I get why, but also they told us for like a couple months they weren't interested in KD.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm not exactly gonna believe everything that comes out there, which is fine. They are under no obligation to tell us, yes, we would like to trade
That
for a
doesn't
guy.
help them at all.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
exactly. There's
Doesn't help them. It
nothing to
only
be
hurts them.
gained by that.
So yeah, I'm Houston saying they're not interested to trade. I get why they would do that. Just like with the KD situation, you're not going to buy it. Just like I don't buy that Utah is really dead set on keeping Lowry Markkanen. I don't buy that for 1 second.
Yeah.
That he's not going to be available at the trade deadline, and that is my way to unfortunately segue into Keith. I hate this news. Walker Kessler out for the season. We dealt with so many injuries already. We talked about it. We were so upset with the Fred VanVleet injury, and now Walker Kessler, one of the exciting young bigs in the NBA, and he's done for the year with a torn labrum. And particularly devastating is that Kessler's, for him, he's headed into what will be restricted free agency next summer. This is going to make things very tricky for Walker Kessler this summer, and obviously impact the Jazz to a great degree as well without their starting five for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and what your hope was that Walker Kessler would come out, put together an outstanding season, and then next thing you know, big contract awaits him this summer, whether it's from the Jazz or another team through a sign and trade or even through an offer sheet, maybe. But now teams are going to have some question. I think he has shown enough that no one's going to be like, oh no, we got to run away. Torn labrums are not career ending injuries by any means. Like, he should be fine by the start of next season. The question is just going to be, we know how it works. Teams are going to hold that against him and be like, well, you only played a handful of games last year, and then the year before you missed a bunch of time, even if some of that was shenanigans stuff by the Jazz. But we'll see, where it goes. It was tough because I thought we were going to go into next summer with him and Jalen Duren coming off monster seasons, like neck and neck for these restricted free agent centers who might actually draw offer sheets. And now Kessler's great, and that's probably gonna hold up and continue. But it's not a great free agent class, but there are center options as of now. So that's going to be something that, we'll see. This could make it more likely. Maybe he's just back in Utah.
Yeah, that could very well happen. I do want, if I'm Utah, by the way, I try to use this to my advantage and get him on a long-term deal that is relatively team friendly. And then you're looking at, now look, don't hear what I'm not saying. He's not Steph Curry. So when I'm going to make this comparison, don't hear that I'm comparing Walker Kessler to Steph Curry. I'm saying situationally, years and years ago, part of the reason why the Warriors were in position to sign Kevin Durant was because they had Steph Curry on a below market value deal because he had injury concerns, and they were able to get a long-term deal done at a price that turned out to be, again, below market value. I'm not saying Walker Kessler is that level player or ever will be. That's crazy. But you could, if you can use this injury to your advantage, say, hey, Walker, we know you've been hurt. Can we do 4 years 50, 4 years 75, whatever you can get, right? Instead of that $25 million per year number that a lot of these RFAs have been getting when we look at like guys like Josh Giddey and the likes. So can you use that to your advantage? And then 2-3 years from now, you've got Walker Kessler, who's been relatively healthy, and people are looking around going, man, how did the Jazz have him on that salary? That could be the silver lining here for Utah if they're able to use this to get him on a team-friendly long-term deal.
Well, and scroll up the page here just a little into the top. Lauri Markkanen's the only guy on the books next season making over $10 million. Yes, him at 46 million is a lot, but it's not a max. It's just a big contract. But everybody else makes under 10. Kyle Anderson, that's non-guaranteed. He won't be there. So your next highest paid guy is Ace Bailey. So even if you get Kessler on a little bit of an under market deal, you're really looking at years of financial flexibility going forward around Markkanen's big contract. And that's huge as the Jazz start to build this up. And some of their young guys are starting to think they're starting to come into their own a little bit. Again, like Keontae George. A lot of people were a little down on him, myself included, after last year. He's come back this year and looked like a completely different player and been great. So, it's a bummer that Kessler is out, but there are ways this can still turn out to be a pretty good thing for the Jazz.
A great reminder that players are not static. Players change, players grow. All right, let's go here. Another injury. Zion Williamson out, but a 2-game winning streak for the Pels. Zion Williamson out 7 to 10 days, but 2-game winning streak for the Pelicans. Dallas down bad after that game last night, but no Zion for 7 to 10 days. Not ideal, and the Pelicans, frankly, have been a bit of a disappointment so far this season, but now they're winning. They've won a little bit. Hopefully that can lead to better days ahead.
Yeah.
In New Orleans.
Yeah, and it's a bummer, but I guess we're used to this by now, right? Like if we expect anything with Zion, it's that he's going to miss time. So again, if you're the Pelicans, make the best of it. Play your guys. I think they've really signaled they're going to hand that starting point guard spot over to Jeremiah Fears. He is the guy right now starting. Derek Queen starting to get more minutes. Derek Queen was a huge part of their first victory where he had a big game in the comeback win over Charlotte. A huge fourth quarter for him. And Trey Murphy's got the ball a lot. Saddiq Bey is playing pretty well. But yeah, this is just, all right, here we go again.
Yeah, unfortunate. Of course, we want Zion to be healthy. And not a surprise, but who are they playing in 7 to 10? Oh, that's right, the Lakers. Zion will be back for that game, for sure. Okay, let's go.
Is that a bad thing, though?
No. I want guys to be on the floor.
No. But is that even a bad thing for the Lakers?
Oh, for the Lakers?
Sure.
Well, yeah. You have to go against Zion?
Yeah, he hasn't been that good. I don't know.
But he's got the potential to be really good. That's for sure. All right. The Mavs.
Yeah.
Changing their lineup. D'Angelo Russell didn't exactly set the world on fire in the starting lineup, but they wanted more ball handling in there. And Klay Thompson now off the bench for the Mavs. Now, Klay did have some positive comments about how he feels like he's found something now. His first few games, he didn't have his legs under him, but talked about now being able to flick the wrist and getting a smooth shot and feeling like he's got big things coming. And he did shoot the ball well in his first game coming off the bench. So hopefully that's a sign of better things to come for him. But the Mavs pretty clearly needing to switch something up. They right now, as we speak, are the bottom of the Western Conference. They are the lowest team in the standings of the West. They are 15th. Now it's early and standings are going to adjust and change a ton, but their offense is frankly very difficult to watch. It's a tough watch. They are the worst offensive team in the NBA per offensive rating, and they needed to change something to try to unstick their offense. So they went with D'Angelo Russell in the starting five.
Which I'm fine with. D'Angelo Russell, even though he hasn't shot it well this year, which really no one on Dallas has, he has been really productive as a ball handler and playmaker. And you just need more help for Cooper Flagg in the opening lineup. He's been in a spot where he's just being asked to do too much with all the ball handling duties, defending opposing point guards, all those things. They made a subtle change a couple weeks ago, or not a couple weeks ago. That would have been started a couple games ago, where they moved Max Christie into the starting group and asked him, hey, you're going to defend opposing point guards. That took a little bit off Flagg's plate. Now you put D'Angelo Russell in there. You let Flagg play at the small forward spot. This also came out of they've got some injuries that they're dealing with. AD is still out. Derek Lively is still out. So you're not having to cram a bunch of guys into those front court spots. But I thought Cooper Flagg looked better and more comfortable last night than he has in other games that were lost by 2 to the aforementioned Pelicans. So I think this is the right move all around for Dallas and just a little more roster balance.
And as you said, he is, this is more losing than Cooper Flag is
Yeah.
used to. And we should know, they're missing Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, of course, Kyrie. Like, it's too early to just bury the Mavericks and say their season is, especially with they've played 8 games. We've got a lot of basketball left to play.
Yeah.
But it's not been pretty for Dallas so far. I think there will be better days ahead. But as we talked about, a slow start in the West, you fall behind by too much. And it can be really, really difficult to make up ground and catch up.
Without a doubt. And did you see his quote? Though they were asked like how he's handling it, and he said, "This is the most I've lost since ever."
Yeah.
So I went back and looked it up to make sure I like where he was at. So they're 2-6. The last 4 years of organized basketball, Cooper Flag has played. So remember, he only played 3 years of high school basketball because he reclassified and graduated a year early. Then his year at Duke, he lost a total of 8 games. He lost 1 game his freshman year in high school in Maine, then 3 games his first year at Montverde Academy. Then his Montverde Academy team went undefeated. And then at Duke, they only lost 4 times. So 8 total losses in 4 years versus he's already lost 6. And you could tell he's like angry. He is not happy about it.
Uncharted territory. Well, especially, I don't know if you've seen the rookie of the year odds are shifting now.
Yeah.
And it was, everybody believed Cooper Flag was going to run away with it. And now it's looking quite a bit different. Now, I mean, Cooper Flag is still expected, I think, to ultimately win it. But it's now looking like more of a real race with VJ Edgecombe playing well. Cedric Howard, he's doing some things in Memphis. He's been good. Colin Knippel. I mean, there's some other guys.
Dylan Harper, he's hurt, but Dylan Harper was
yes, Dylan Harper
really well.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, okay, let's go here. Stars returning.
Yeah, finally we get the good news. So we'll just go through these super quick. But Darius Garland back. Also Jared Allen back. They both looked pretty good for the Cavs as they dismantled Philly. Philly didn't play a bunch of their guys. That's kind of the management stuff with Embiid and McCain. But Paul George sounds like he's getting close as well. Anthony Edwards returned and looked like himself last night, which is really good. LeBron is, we're now ramping up towards a return, which I think is really good for him. There, Jalen Green is probable, so he will be back soon. It's a little bit of a weird schedule this week. We've got only 1 game as we record this on Thursday. Only 1 game Thursday night. That's because they don't want teams playing back-to-back on the NBA Cup night, second night of a back-to-back. So Thursdays are going to be a little lighter. But we got guys coming back, which is good because feels like we have to spend too much time talking about guys who are out.
Yeah, for sure. Good to see guys getting back in action and teams getting closer. We get a better sense of what teams are, when you've got their full squads out there. So excited to see those players getting back. Last thing, we've got the Pacers decided to waive Mac McClung. What happened, Mac? And signed Monte Morris.
Yeah. Monte Morris was rumored to be in the mix with Indiana, and then he was hurt. He had a calf injury, so they didn't sign him. My guess is what happened was he got healthy, and they're like, hey, Mac, they gave him the equivalent of a 10-day contract. The Pacers are actually with 2 guys on hardship deals right now because they've got Jeremiah Robinson Earl, and then they signed Cody Martin yesterday. So they're still incredibly banged up, and we'll see. But Mac McClung had his shot. He'll now revert back to he should go back to Windy City, which is the Bulls G League team there. So it's just tough to break through. I mean, it's tough to make it in the NBA, but Monte Morris in the fold, and they're ready to go.
Yep. First NBA contract, real contract for Mac McClung. Short-lived.
Yep.
Short-lived. All right, everybody.
Short show
today. Yeah, we got some stuff we have to jump off to, but we appreciate all of you for joining. We'll be live tomorrow for Front Office Friday. We'll be taking all of your questions and comments. Till then, everybody, see ya and stay safe.